Hey everyone, it's Mrs. Dedeaux. I'm going back to my English roots. We're going to be going over a question. This is just to help you. We want all of you to rock the CASP test. I know that each and every single one of you, if you give it your all, you're not just clicking through the questions, you can absolutely rock this test. So let's get into it. We got a couple of testing tips that I want to go over first before we go over the right answer. Number one, with these multiple select questions, please pay attention in the question. A lot of times it'll bold how many things will be right, how many things we are looking for you to check off. So if you review this question, it says a student is writing a report for class about her favorite sport. Select 2 sentences. Now, if you get one of the right sentences, but you don't click the second, you're not going to get that credit. So please make sure you're paying attention to bolded words in all of your CASP questions. Secondly, this is a multiple select question, which means that you're going to have to check off multiple answers to get it right. A key clue that you should know is if you ever look at a CASP question and there are square boxes instead of a round circle that you have to check off, you know that it's multiple select. So square boxes mean multiple select. That should trigger your brain that there's more than one right answer that I have to look for. So let's get into each of these. I'm not going to go too deep into grammar terms and things like that. We're going to try to keep it simple so that you can understand in the simplest form how you can have the best chance at getting a question like this right. So if we look here, A, basketball is a fun and exciting sport to play, semicolon, but it takes hard work and dedication to develop necessary skills to become a star player. That is not a correct answer. And why? We can use a comma after play. Basketball is a fun and exciting sport to play, comma. Normally we use a comma and then a coordinating conjunction, right? But. So we don't necessarily have to split those up. That's a related idea. We just need a comma to separate. So A is not correct. B, to be a good basketball player, a person must be in good condition, semicolon. Basketball requires a great deal of running up and down the length of the court. This is actually one of the right answers. And why is that? It's 2 independent clauses, and all independent clauses, it's a really fancy way of saying it's a complete sentence, it's a complete thought. And that's when we use semicolons, to join 2 related independent clauses or 2 related complete thoughts. Normally that second thought adds just a little bit more detail and is closely related to the first thought. And that's when we use a semicolon. So again, B, to be a good basketball player, a person must be in good condition. That is a complete thought, right? We have all complete parts of a sentence. We use a semicolon. And the second thought is going to, again, add additional information. Basketball requires a great deal of running up and down the length of the court. That's an independent clause by itself. It could stand as a sentence by itself. It's closely related and provides additional information. And that's when we use a semicolon. So B is one of those right answers. C, having one really good player on a basketball team is great. Think to yourself, if I walked up to you and I said that, would that be a complete thought? Would that be an independent clause? Complete sentence? Yes. Now let's see, they put a semicolon there. However, comma. Remember, anytime we have a transition, a conjunction, any type of transitional word, we put a comma after. However, basketball is a team sport that requires each person to perform his or her role. It's a closely related complete thought. It can be separated with a semicolon. So C is another right answer. Let's look at the following answers and determine why they are wrong. Okay, so we have D. Only 5 players from each team can be on the court at the same time during a basketball game, comma. Other sports, that's where they put the semicolon. So if we think about that, that semicolon really is meant to separate 2 complete thoughts. They put a semicolon, other sports, semicolon, so it's almost like before they're going to list other sports, they put a semicolon. Normally, we wouldn't use a semicolon there, such as football and soccer allow more players to be on the field. And think about this, if I walked up to you and the only thing I said when I walked up to you is, such as football and soccer allow more players on the field. Would that make sense, or would you kind of question what I was talking about? That's your clue, is to determine, is this a complete independent clause? Is it a complete sentence, okay? E, a high school basketball game consists of 4 quarters and 2 halves separated by halftime, semicolon, with players usually going to their locker rooms so the coaches can go over plays for the second half. These are not, again, 2 independent clauses. That second part, with, that conjunction, right, that coordinating word, that connecting word, with players usually going, that's not a complete thought. That's not how we would start off a complete sentence, right? So again, it's just cluing you in that this is not right. And then the last one, F, learning to dribble the ball, semicolon. Now, if I just walked up to you and I said, learning to dribble the ball, you would look at me and say, learning to dribble the ball, what? So that right there lets us know, again, not a complete idea, not a place where we can insert a semicolon. I've simplified it a lot. We didn't get into a lot of technical terms, but I hope that you understand that a semicolon is used to join 2 independent clauses, 2 complete ideas together, where that second idea, that second clause, really adds to the first and gives more information. I hope this helps you. We're going to continue to work on these questions in preparation for testing in March and April.